It's gone. You hear me? It's gone. Stop trying to bring it back. You don't need to save what's already dead. This question mark, this is your reality now. No prayers will fix it. No wishes will undo it. Stop wasting time on what's buried 6 feet under. You spent too long digging up corpses, hoping they'll breathe again. They won't. You think if you try hard enough, if you plead enough, if you push hard enough, somehow, miraculously, that thing, that person, that dream will come back. But it won't. It's gone, dead, and you're standing there desperate, clinging to the past, choking on what can no longer sustain you. It's gone. And it's time you realize that what you're doing is not fighting for your future. You're fighting for a ghost, a shadow that never existed the way you wanted it to. The dream was never real. The person you thought they were, the vision of the life you hoped to live, none of that was ever more than a fleeting moment in your mind. And now you're stuck, holding on to the illusion of something that is gone. It's over. Stop pretending. It's time to let go. The past is a place you can't return to, no matter how hard you try. The more you resist, the deeper you dig into the grave, the more you suffocate the future. You have the audacity to stand there and scream at the dead, expecting them to rise, but they never will. You're the only one left here with the power to walk away. And yet you stay, trapped in your own unwillingness to accept what has already passed. You don't need to save what's already dead. It's not your job. It was never your responsibility. You think you can change the past, that your efforts can rewrite history, but that's an impossible task. The past doesn't owe you an explanation, and it certainly doesn't owe you redemption. What's gone is gone. Your prayers will not resurrect it, no matter how fervently you speak the words. Your regrets won't rewrite it. Your anger won't change it. You're wasting precious energy trying to breathe life into a dead thing. The more you focus on what no longer exists, the further away you move from the life that's waiting for you, right here, right now. You're giving your power to something that will never come back to you. You think time will heal the wounds, that eventually the pain will fade, and maybe you'll see things in a new light. But the truth is, time isn't some magical balm that makes everything better. Time doesn't fix what's broken. It's not a savior, it's an observer. It watches as you sink deeper into despair, as you waste away, hoping for a miracle that's never going to happen. No amount of time will bring back what's dead. The only thing time gives you is the ability to see how much of your life you've wasted on a hope that never had a chance of survival. It's not time you need, it's clarity. You need to wake up and face the truth. You need to see the dead for what they are and let them go. There is no coming back from this. There's no second chance, no do-over. You can't reverse the clock. You can't undo what has been done. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay to accept that. It's okay to realize that not everything was meant to last forever. Some things were only meant to teach you something, to shape you in ways you didn't expect, and then to leave. The chapter is closed, and the pages are turning without you. But you're still sitting there, trying to rewrite the story, trying to drag out the ending, trying to fix what can't be fixed. You're holding on to the ruins of a life that was never meant to stay. And every minute you spend in that place, every second you waste hoping things will change, you get further away from the person you're meant to become. You're afraid of the future. I get it. The unknown is terrifying. It's easier to stay in the comfort of your misery, in the safety of what you know, even if it's painful, even if it's broken. But that's the trap. That's where you're stuck. You think you can't move forward, that the pain is too great, that there's no way out of the shadow of what's lost. But here's the truth. The future is yours. It's not the past. It's not the grave. It's not the memory. The future is where you have power, where you have control, where you can create something new. But you'll never get there if you keep looking backward. You'll never see the path forward if your eyes are always fixed on the past, searching for something that's no longer there. You can't walk forward while you're still holding on to the dead. You've spent too much time on the past, haven't you? You've let it consume you. You've let it shape you, distort you, hold you captive. You've convinced yourself that you can't move forward without it, that you can't be who you're meant to be without the past, without that person, without that dream. But that's a lie. It's a lie you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of letting go. But you can't avoid it forever. Sooner or later, the truth will surface, and you'll have to face the fact that you're still here, alive, breathing, with a future to build. The dead won't build that future for you. You have to do it. You have to step into the unknown, into the future that is waiting for you. But only if you stop living in the past, only if you stop dragging the dead along with you. It's time to stop fighting. It's time to stop the endless battle to bring back what's gone. You're tired, aren't you? Tired of fighting a losing battle. Tired of chasing something that's always just out of reach. Tired of holding on to hope that doesn't belong to you anymore. You don't need to fight for what's dead. You need to fight for what's still alive inside of you. There is still life in you, still a spark, still a chance to rebuild, to rise from the ashes. But you'll never find it if you keep looking back, if you keep trying to resuscitate the dead. You have to let go. You have to surrender to the reality that it's gone. And when you do, when you finally let the past die, you'll find that your energy, your will, your strength, it all becomes yours again. It becomes fuel for the fire that's waiting to burn brighter than anything the past could have ever given you. You have to stop seeing the dead as your anchor. You have to stop seeing them as your reason to keep going. They were a chapter in your life, but they are not the whole story. The book is still being written, and the author is you. You can't keep trying to rewrite the first few pages when the rest of the book is waiting for you to finish it. You're holding the pen, and every moment you waste trying to bring back what's already dead is a moment you're not using to write the next part of your story. You have a future that's waiting to be shaped by your hands, but it can't be shaped if you keep holding on to the dead. Let the dead rest. Let them go. They don't need you to save them. What they need is to be remembered for what they were, and then released. You need to move forward. You need to step into the unknown, into the vast possibility that awaits. The future is yours, but only if you stop wasting time on what's already gone. The dead will never come back, no matter how many tears you shed, no matter how many prayers you make. It's time to stop trying to bring them back. It's time to stop trying to save what's already dead. The only thing left for you to do is to live. And that, my friend, is the only thing that matters. The dead will never matter again. They can't. It's your time now. You've been standing at the edge for too long, staring into the abyss of your past, waiting for something to change, for some sign that things will turn back the way they were. But here's the harsh truth. It's not going to happen. You're still holding on to fragments, shattered pieces of something that is no longer here. The time you're wasting trying to revive the dead is precious, and you can't afford to squander another minute of it. Look at yourself. Look at how far you've fallen. How many times have you told yourself that you'll get back up, that you'll start fresh, that you'll change the course of your life? How many promises have you made to yourself, only to fall into the same cycle of despair, longing for what's gone? You've been stuck in this loop of regret, haunted by memories of a past that cannot be resurrected. But here's the real question. When will you stop being a prisoner to your own grief? When will you break free from the chains you've forged, bound tightly by the need to save what is beyond saving? Do you think the dead care about your grief? Do you think the things you've lost feel your pain, hear your cries, understand the emptiness that consumes you? Number. They are beyond your reach. They are beyond your control. And the more you try to pull them back, the more you sink into the quicksand of your own helplessness. The harder you fight, the deeper you get trapped. The truth is, you cannot save what is dead. You never could, and you never will. What you can do, what you absolutely must do, is move forward. But moving forward requires something from you. It requires courage. It requires letting go of what's familiar, even if it hurts. It requires the strength to step away from the grave and into the unknown. The future isn't a place you'll find while you're standing in the shadow of what's gone. The future is in the unknown, in the uncertainty, in the place where you can finally break free and start creating your own life. You've built your entire existence around what has passed. You've defined your worth by your losses, by what was taken from you. And in doing so, you've allowed the dead to dictate your life. You've allowed them to determine your present, your future, your every waking moment. But no one, no thing, no ghost from the past should have that kind of power over you. You are not a reflection of what you lost. You are a reflection of what you choose to become. What you do next is what matters. The question is, will you continue to let the past define you, or will you take control of your future? The decision is yours, and the time to make that decision is now. It's time to stop romanticizing the past. You've built it up in your mind, turning it into something it was never meant to be. You've placed it on a pedestal, worshipping it, as if somehow that version of your life was better, more fulfilling, more meaningful than what's possible for you now. But the truth is, your past was never perfect. It was never without its flaws, its shortcomings, its pain. You've just forgotten that part. You've forgotten the reality because you've been holding on to the fantasy. You've been clinging to the version of your past that feels safe, that feels comfortable, that doesn't require you to face the truth. But now you have to. You have to wake up and see your past for what it really was. A series of moments that, as much as you love them, were never meant to last. If you want to be free, if you want to experience true growth, you have to let go of the idealized version of your life. You have to face the reality that some things end, some things break, some things die. And that's okay. That's part of the cycle. You are not meant to hold on to everything forever. You were never meant to live in the past. You were meant to keep moving forward, to evolve, to create new things, to build something new from the lessons you've learned, from the scars that remain. Those scars, they are not marks of weakness. They are marks of survival. They are evidence that you lived, that you fought, that you endured. And now, they are your strength. They are your foundation, but only if you let them be. The past has no place in your future unless you allow it to. It can't drag you down if you stop giving it the power to do so. You're the one holding the reins. You're the one who decides where you go from here. So, if you want to move forward, if you want to build a life worth living, then you have to let go of the past. You have to stop searching for something that no longer exists. What's waiting for you is far more powerful, far more rewarding than anything you could possibly reclaim from what's lost. But you'll never see it if you're still looking backward, hoping for a miracle that will never come. You have the power to create your own reality, but only if you stop living in someone else's. You can't live your life trying to save what's already gone. That's not your job. It's not your responsibility. It's not your burden to carry. Your job, your responsibility, your burden is to take what's left of you, to take your lessons, your pain, your strength, and use them to build something that's uniquely yours. You don't need to save the past. You need to save yourself. You need to save your future. And you can only do that by leaving the dead behind. You can only do that by walking away from what's already buried and walking into the life that you have the power to create. How much longer will you keep looking at the ruins? How many times will you tell yourself that things could have been different if only you had done something differently? The past is not your fault. The losses you've endured are not your fault. But staying stuck in that place is your choice, and you're choosing to remain there because the unknown feels more frightening than the pain of staying the same. But here's the truth. The pain of staying the same is far worse than the fear of the unknown, because in the unknown, there's room for possibility, there's room for growth, there's room for the life you've always wanted, the life you deserve, but only if you're willing to take that first step forward, only if you're willing to turn away from the past and move toward what's waiting for you. It's time for you to stop fighting the inevitable. It's time for you to stop fighting for something that was never meant to last. It's time to accept that the past is gone and it will never come back. But your future, that's still in your hands. You can still create something new. You can still write the next chapter of your life. You can still rise from the ashes of what's been lost, but you have to be willing to let go of what's dead. You have to stop holding on to the ghosts that haunt you. And when you do, you'll find that there's a life waiting for you, a life full of possibility, a life full of meaning, a life full of everything you've been searching for. But you can only find it if you stop looking backward. You can only find it if you stop trying to save what's already dead. The future is waiting for you, but it's not going to wait forever. The truth is, time doesn't care about your pain, your regrets, or your desires to undo what has already happened. Time moves forward, whether you're ready or not. It will leave you behind if you keep clinging to the past. The world doesn't stop because you can't accept the reality that things are gone. The days will keep passing. The years will stack up. And before you know it, you'll find yourself buried under the weight of all the time you've wasted trying to resurrect what cannot be revived. The longer you wait, the further you drift from the life you could have, the life that is waiting for you. But it's not going to wait forever. It's moving forward, and so must you. Every moment you spend dwelling on what's dead is a moment you can never get back. You're wasting your life on something that no longer serves you. The energy you're pouring into something that can never return is energy that you could be using to create something new, to push yourself to become someone better, to build a future that's worthy of who you are today. But instead, you're stuck in this purgatory of grief, longing, and regret, refusing to let go. But let me ask you this. How long will you allow yourself to remain here, in this space where nothing grows, where nothing changes, where nothing heals? You think that by holding on to the past, by remembering what you lost, you're honoring it. But what you're really doing is chaining yourself to it. You're holding the past up on a pedestal, refusing to let it fall, refusing to accept that it's gone, and in doing so, you're suffocating your future. You're imprisoning yourself in a memory, trapping yourself in a moment that cannot return. Every time you look back, you lose a piece of what's ahead of you. You cannot move forward while your gaze is fixed in the rearview mirror, waiting for the past to catch up with you. It won't. And it's not supposed to. The only thing that can help you now is to face the truth. To understand that the future is not some distant dream. It is not a place that will magically appear once you've processed all your pain, once you've been given enough time to heal, once the wounds have scabbed over. The future is now. It's right in front of you, waiting for you to reach out and take it. But you cannot take it if you keep holding on to what's already gone. You cannot seize the opportunities that are waiting for you if your hands are still gripping the past, still trying to bring it with you, still trying to make something dead breathe again. The longer you stay in this limbo, the more you lose. Every day you spend stuck in the past is another day you could have used to build something new. Every year you waste thinking that time will fix it, thinking that something will change, is a year you'll never get back. The past doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't owe you closure. It doesn't owe you understanding, and it certainly doesn't owe you redemption. The only thing the past owes you is the lesson it's already given you. And once you've learned that lesson, you need to walk away. You need to move on. If you don't, you'll end up with nothing. And I mean nothing. No future, no progress, no life. Just a shell of a person stuck in an endless loop of what ifs and maybes. It's time to realize that the past has no control over you unless you give it that power. You're not a prisoner of what's happened to you unless you allow yourself to be. The chains are only as tight as you allow them to be. You have the key. You have the strength to free yourself from this, but the first step is acknowledging that you cannot save what's already dead. You cannot go back and rewrite history. You cannot change the outcome. What you can do is change the way you live now. You can change the way you approach tomorrow, but only if you let go of the past, only if you stop trying to bring back what's already gone. There are so many people who spend their entire lives chasing the ghosts of their past. They live in the shadow of what could have been, of what should have been, of what they think they lost. They walk through life with their heads held low, as if the weight of everything they've lost is too heavy to bear. But the truth is, that weight isn't as heavy as they think it is. It's heavy because they refuse to put it down. It's heavy because they won't let go. It's heavy because they insist on carrying it around like a badge of honor, as if their pain somehow defines them, as if their loss somehow makes them special. But you are not special because of what you've lost. You're special because of what you can still create. You're special because you still have the power to change the narrative, to write the next chapter of your life. You are special because you have the ability to rise from the ashes of the past and forge something new. Do not let the dead control your future. Do not let the things that have passed, the people who have walked away, the dreams that have faded, dictate what you do with your time on this earth. The dead have no place in the present. The dead have no place in the future. Their time has come and gone. You are here now. You are alive, breathing, moving forward. Don't waste that gift. Don't squander the precious time you have left by holding on to what cannot return. The world is filled with new opportunities, new relationships, new dreams, but none of them will be yours if you're still stuck in the past. You're not defined by what you've lost. You're defined by what you're willing to do with what's left. And there is so much left. There is so much more for you to discover, so much more for you to accomplish, so much more for you to give to the world. But only if you let go of the past, only if you stop trying to drag it with you, only if you stop trying to save what's already dead. What's waiting for you on the other side of this is everything you've ever wanted, but you'll never reach it if you're still holding on to a life that's no longer yours. The future is not just something that will happen to you. The future is something you must create. It's something you have the power to shape. It's something you can mold into whatever you want it to be. But you can't do that if you're looking backward. You can't do that if you're still holding on to the remnants of something that no longer exists. The past has already had its time. It has already shaped you in ways that will last forever. But now it's time for you to shape yourself. Now it's time for you to take everything you've learned, everything you've experienced, and use it to fuel the next chapter of your life. You can still achieve greatness. You can still experience joy. You can still love, still grow, still create. But you can only do that if you release the past. You have to stop holding on to what's dead. You have to stop trying to resuscitate what's gone. And you have to stop waiting for a future that will never come if you keep living in the past. Your future is waiting for you, but it's not going to wait forever. The world is moving on, the clock is ticking, and the only way you can keep up is by moving forward. Let the past die, let the dead rest, and step into the life that is waiting for you. It's your time now, but it's not going to wait forever. The past is gone, and no matter how hard you try, it will never return. You can't save what's already dead. The time has come for you to release it, to stop letting it control your future. You have the power to move forward, to create something new, to build the life you deserve. Don't waste another moment holding on to what's lost. Embrace the future that's waiting for you, because it's not going to wait forever. Let go, rise up, and make the most of the time you have left. The choice is yours. Make it count.